I've been waiting for a while to find a good deal on a rod and reel combination at a flea market or a thrift store, and I wanted it to be in good enough shape to justify a rebuild on both the rod and reel. I found what I was looking for. I was looking for a fiberglass rod and spinning reel combination where both the pieces were in good enough shape to justify a rebuild process on it. And I wanted to do a series of videos on it, and I wanted to give the combo away at the completion of the series of videos. I found what I was looking for at a thrift store where the money goes to help people in need. So this was a good opportunity for me to pick up the rod and reel combo I was looking for and to start working on this rebuild process. And at the completion of the process, I'm going to be giving away the rod and reel in its completed form to a subscriber. And if you'll wait to the end of the video, you can find out the details on how to enter the giveaway. And I hope all of you enjoy the process. I hope you enjoy the video series. I hope the winner will appreciate the rod and reel and will enjoy having it. And good luck to everybody. And let's get started with this video series. I kind of talked over most of the cleanup process. You can see here I'm heating the metal ferrule and pulling it off. You can see also that there was twine used as the arbor for the reel seat, and it was kind of a mess to get cleaned up, and also cleaning up the old epoxy in the reel seat and cork areas. I've got the rod cleaned up, the blank for the most part. I still have to come back and remove the varnish, and that will even out where these old thread wraps were on it. I've cleaned up where the reel seat was and the cork, and got all that back down to pretty much bare fiberglass here. There was a lot of old dried up epoxy on it, twine that was used as an arbor for the reel seat. It was kind of tough to get off. It was epoxied onto the rod, and it held really well to the rod. Not so great to the reel seat apparently, because the reel seat was spinning around like I showed you earlier. What I had to do to get most of that off, I actually used a utility knife, just a regular old utility knife, and kind of rested the rod on this little edge of the utility knife handle here, something like this, and just held my blade at a 90-degree angle to the rod blank and just kept scraping until all of that old epoxy came off. And a lot of times when I'm trying to remove the varnish, I'll just use a regular razor blade in a similar manner, and I will just scrape I'll do a little section here so you can see what it looks like when you get the old varnish off. I think you can see that there. That's where the old varnish just came off, and you can see that there's still varnish in these areas. It is a little time consuming, but it goes faster than what you think it would. You can see I already did this whole section right here in just a couple of seconds, so the whole rod will go pretty quickly. I'm going to put a finish on the whole rod once I get everything sanded and scraped down. When I get done with it, we'll have a nice kind of a reddish tint to it. And I really like these old tubular fiberglass rods, but these old glass blanks are very durable. They almost have a wood-like quality to them in their appearance. And I will get some alcohol and put it on this blank and show you what it will look like once I get the finish on it. Okay, I've just got some rubbing alcohol on this rag here. I think you can see in this area there's some unevenness to the finish where I've been scraping on it. And once you rub it with this alcohol, everything just kind of smooths back out color-wise, and it looks really nice. And this will be kind of what the rod will look like when I get a finish on it. I've marked the spline of the rod sections. I've marked this end on the butt section where the handle will go, or the grip. I've marked the tip section also. These old glass rods, you can almost find the spline just by looking at it, but if you sight down it, you'll see a high side and a low side. On a spinning reel, you want the low side to be pointing down. You want your guides to go on the low side. So it's lower on this side. I want my guys to hang upside down so that the natural curvature of the rod, the guides will line up with that. I went and checked these by hand by bending the blanks and found the spline, and also did it by sight too, just to confirm what I thought was accurate. I've removed the metal ferrules, and I'm going to make this what was a two-piece rod into a one-piece rod by sliding the tip section up through the lower section, and it will come out of this end, and it makes a tight joint. So now it slid through the butt section, and if you just pull that tight and give it a little twist, it will lock it in place. And what I'm going to do is epoxy these two pieces together, and you can see that there is a little bit of a transition there, and I will be hiding that as best I can with thread, doing a wrap here in this area. The wrap will help strengthen this where these two come together. I've done this before. I've actually built rods out of other rods that's glued in place to make it into a one piece, and they're plenty strong and they flex in those areas pretty well. And you do lose some of your length of your rod. What was originally about a 6.5 foot long rod, it'll be going down to just a little over 6 foot long. I lose probably about 5 inches doing this, and I'm okay with that. It will actually make this rod a little stiffer than it was originally. It wasn't ultra light, but it was pretty light. There was a lot of whippiness to the tip, and that was from the added length. When I removed that length now, it's made the tip section stiffer. The tip section's still flexible, but it's not as whippy as it was before because I've removed some of that length. And that has a lot to do with just the leverage. The added length gives more leverage, so the tip section flex more the way it was if you're casting. So with it being shorter, it will actually stiffen the action of the rod up a little bit. Okay, I've got the finish all scraped off of the rod blanks. It's kind of a reddish brown. I don't know how well that will show up on this video. I'm going to be using Bullard CP Extra as the rod finish, and what it does is just give the fiberglass a protective coating. It will also kind of help with the blotchiness a little bit. It'll kind of make it all more of a uniform color. As I've cleaned all the dust off with alcohol and a lint-free rag to get all the dust off of it. I've got my dryer motor set up, running as fast as it'll turn, which is about 50 RPMs. I'm doing this in my garage, and I've got my garage door open because this stuff puts off some fumes, and you need a well ventilated area to do it in. I've got my support here on this end at the seam where the two pieces are coming together. I don't need to worry about getting any of this finish in this area. I'll stop the finish somewhere in this area because I'm going to be putting wraps on here, and it will get epoxy over it, so this part of it doesn't actually need the finish on it. And I will pick it up somewhere in this area and carry it on out to the end of the rod. Alright, I got the first coat on. I'm going to wait for it to dry. As you can see, I've got it spinning real slowly right now. I don't have any in this area where the grip's going to go. I think it looks pretty good. I think the rod will look nice when it's completed. You can kind of see the fiberglass pattern in the rod a little bit, I think. And it's kind of a light brownish red color. I think it looks pretty nice. I think it'll make a nice looking rod, and it'll definitely make a functional rod. Fiberglass is extremely durable.